Who would win in the ultimate clash of titans, the polar bear or the Kodiak bear? On one side, a snow-white predator that can weigh over 1,500 pounds, with paws so massive they can crush a seal's skull in a single swipe. On the other, a brown giant standing nearly 10 feet tall, armed with jaws that bite harder than a lion's, and the raw muscle to topple moose. Both are apex kings. Both are armed to kill. But only one can walk away. The ground will shake. The outcome will shock you. This is polar bear versus Kodiak bear. And the fight begins right now. Evolution and history. How did life carve its timeless journey through existence? To understand the polar bear and the Kodiak bear is to travel back into the deep time of the Ursidae family. Their story begins not with divergence, but with a common ancestor. Around 500,000 to 600,000 years ago, a population of brown bears, the progenitor of all brown bear subspecies, became isolated. The Earth was plunging into an ice age, and sea levels dropped, exposing land bridges. One group ventured east across the barren land bridge into the rich, unoccupied territories of what is now Alaska. Those that settled on the Kodiak archipelago found a paradise cut off from the mainland, with abundant salmon runs, dense vegetation, and a mild coastal climate. They faced little competition. This isolation was the crucible of with no need to migrate far and a consistent, high-calorie food source. These bears grew larger and larger over thousands of generations. The Kodiak bear, Ursus arctos middendorfi, is not a different species from the grizzly bear. Ursus arctos, it is a massive subspecies that evolved in island isolation. Much like the mammoths of Wrangel Island, the polar bear's Ursus maritimus origin story is even more dramatic. Genetic studies reveal that polar bears diverged from a population of brown bears remarkably recently, between 150,000 and 500,000 years ago. This was an explosive evolutionary event. A group of brown bears, likely from present-day Ireland, began to exploit a new, harsh niche. The Arctic sea ice. The adaptation was breathtakingly rapid. Their fur turned white for camouflage, their skin turned black to better absorb solar radiation. Their bodies became more streamlined for swimming, their paws enlarged into paddles, and their teeth sharpened for a hypercarnivorous diet. They became, in essence, marine mammals. The Kodiak bear's history is one of abundance and stable specialization. The polar bear is a tale of radical transformation and survival in the planet's most hostile environment. One bear evolved to master a land of seasonal feast, the other to conquer a permanent, frozen wilderness. This fundamental difference in their journey through time is written in every fiber of their being, setting the stage for a confrontation that would be a clash of evolutionary philosophies. Biological perfection. What makes survival the ultimate design of nature, built for a life of hunt and swift, agile prey in the water and on ice? The polar bear is a study in hydrodynamic efficiency. Its elongated neck and skull are perfect for thrusting into seal-breathing holes or swimming long distances. While slightly smaller on average than a massive male Kodiak, large male polar bears can reach 1,500 pounds or more. Their primary weapon is their immense, powerful forelimbs, driven by massive shoulder muscles. A polar bear's swipe can deliver a blow strong enough to crush a seal, skull, or lift a 600-pound seal out of the water. Their claws are shorter and sharper than a brown bear's, less for digging, more for hooking and gripping slippery prey. Their sense of smell is legendary, capable of detecting a seal's breathing hole from over a mile away. Their diet of pure fat has endowed them with a remarkable resilience to injury and a layer of blubber up to 4.5 inches thick, providing insulation and armor. The Kodiak is the epitome of raw, terrestrial power. It is built not for swimming, but for digging, climbing, and dominating a complex landscape. It is more robust, with a massive, disc-shaped face, a pronounced hump of muscle on its shoulders for digging power, and a heavier bone structure. This robustness is key. While a polar bear might be longer, A Kodiak of the same length will be significantly heavier and more compacted, denser package of muscle and bone. Its claws are long, thick, and blunt, designed for digging up roots and rodent colonies. But in a fight, they become formidable tools for gripping and raking. A Kodiak's bite force is immense, capable of crushing the spine of a moose. Having evolved in a landscape with other large predators, wolves, other bears, the Kodiak is inherently more aggressive and territorially aware. It is a seasoned fighter, accustomed to violent skirmishes over food and mates. In a purely static comparison, the Kodiak holds slight but critical advantages. It is generally heavier and more robust, with a stronger skeleton. It is a brawler by nature, while the polar bear is a specialist hunter. The polar bear's blubber provides excellent protection against the cold, but may not be as effective against the deep, crushing bite of the Kodiak as a Kodiak's own dense muscle. The polar bear's agility and speed on ice would be negated on land, the most likely neutral battleground. Biologically, the scales tip toward the Kodiak's raw, terrestrial power. The social code. Why do behaviors shape the rise and fall of civilizations? The polar bear is largely a solitary nomad. Its social interactions are brief, limited to mating or the occasional gathering at a large whale carcass. Even then, hierarchies are established with bluster and posturing rather than a loud war. Their hunting strategy is one of patience and ambush, waiting silently at a seal's breathing hole or stalking carefully across the ice. A fight for a polar bear is typically a quick, brutal affair to secure a meal, not a prolonged, tactical duel. It is a predator in the purest sense, unused to facing an opponent that will stand its ground and fight back with equal ferocity. The Kodiak bear, by contrast, lives in a more socially complex world. While solitary, Kodiak bears have overlapping territories and frequently encounter each other, especially during the summon runs. This necessitates a sophisticated language of dominance and submission. They are experts in reading body language to the positioning of the ears, the huffing sounds, the subtle shifts in posture. When these displays fail, fights are brutal, explosive events. Kodiak bears are experienced in combat. They know how to leverage their weight, how to wrestle, and how to deliver devastating bites to the head and neck of a rival. They are conditioned to fight opponents their own size and strength, an experience the solitary polar bear almost entirely lacks. This behavioral difference is profound. The polar bear approaches a fight as a hunter. Its goal is to kill prey as efficiently as possible. The Kodiak bear approaches a fight as a dominant male. Its goal is to establish supremacy, often through a display of overwhelming force and endurance. In a clash between the two, the Kodiak's experience in violent confrontations against powerful adversaries would be a significant tactical advantage. The polar bear's instinct to dispatch its target quickly could be its undoing against an opponent that simply will not yield. The global landscape. Where does humanity truly stand in the theater of time? The tragic irony of this hypothetical battle is that one of the combatants is fighting a real-world war for its very existence. The Kodiak bear, with a stable population of around 3,500 individuals on the Kodiak archipelago, is a conservation success story. Heavily regulated hunting and the protected nature of its habitat have allowed it to thrive. It is not considered endangered. The polar bear's situation is dire. Listed as vulnerable, its world is literally melting away. Climate change is causing the Arctic sea ice to form later and break up earlier, drastically reducing the time polar bears have to hunt their primary prey, seals. Starving bears are being forced inland, where they come into conflict with humans and struggle to find food. The geographical range of the polar bear is shrinking precipitously. Some subpopulations are already in decline. This reality adds a somber note to our speculative battle. We are comparing the robust, stable existence of the Kodiak to the precarious, vanishing existence of the polar bear. The fight we imagine is a spectacle. The fight the polar bear is actually in is a struggle against an invisible, global enemy it cannot possibly defeat with tooth and claw. Death and decline. Is every legacy destined to vanish into silence? Or the Kodiak bear? The top causes of death are largely natural. Introspecific competition, being killed by another bear, starvation of young or old individuals, and regulated hunting. For the polar bear, the cause of decline is singular and anthropogenic. Climate change-induced habitat loss. As the ice disappears, polar bears face starvation, increased drowning from long swims, and conflict with humans. If the polar bear disappears, the Arctic ecosystem will lose its apex predator. This could lead to an explosion in seal populations, which would then decimate the fish that form the base of a complex marine food web. The delicate balance of the Arctic, a system the polar bear has helped regulate for hundreds of thousands of years, would be irrevocably altered. The loss would be more than ecological. It would be a profound cultural and spiritual loss for the indigenous peoples of the North and a permanent scar on the conscience of humanity. The business of survival. What is the real cost of existence in the marketplace of life? The Kodiak Bear is at the center of a lucrative, tightly controlled industry. Trophy hunting. A single permit to hunt a Kodiak bear can cost over $20,000, and the economic impact of guided hunts pumps significant revenue into Alaska's economy, which in turn funds conservation efforts. This creates a strange but effective incentive to protect the bear's habitat. The polar bear faces different economic pressures. While illegal trade in polar bear pelts and parts persists on the black market, its greatest threat is not from poaching, but from the global industries driving climate change. Conversely, polar bear tourism in places like Churchill, Manitoba, generates millions, demonstrating that a living bear is far more valuable than a dead one. However, this ecotourism is itself threatened by the same phenomenon that threatens the bears. As the ice disappears, so do the predictable viewing opportunities. Two giants collide. Claws/teeth. Teeth. The tundra and the forest tremble under their fury. The polar bear is born, relentless, a master of endurance. The Kodiak earth-shaking, raw power, a beast forged in the wild. Both push past their limits. Both refuse to fall. But in the end, who truly reigns supreme? The frozen king of the Arctic, or the towering ruler of the wilderness? The answer lies not with me, but with you. Who takes the crown in this clash of legends? Drop your verdict in the comments. Smash that like button, and subscribe for more epic animal battles. The fight may pause here, but the debate has only just begun.